Hello, how are you doing? Thank you for joining me today. I am going to talk about some mistakes that resellers make when sourcing. Hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Stacy and I have been reselling on eBay and Posh for over 10 years. I started reselling when I was married. I am now divorced and doing it on my own. On this channel, I want to share the tips that I have found over the years and also my journey of when you've been doing it this long, sometimes you get a little burnout and I'm finding my way back. So if you want to join me here for a new video every Sunday, I hope that you will hit that subscribe button and let's get into some mistakes. This is in no certain order. It's just as I was thinking about things that I have done in the past, mistakes I have made, and some that I still have made today. Or recently, not today, I didn't go thrifting today, but missing things on the item when you're purchasing them. Whether it's a electronic item and you didn't think to open the battery backing in the store, you get it home, you open it, there was corroded batteries in it. Maybe the batteries are still in it and they're stuck, or maybe they're gone, but the evidence is still there and the product's damaged. So that's one thing. Clothes, of course, missing the stains, which is easy to do when you're in a thrift shop, especially like a mainstream, like Goodwill, their lighting is bright. I do tend to always, when I have my stuff, then I go to the front of the store. While I'm really looking over it, I take the things off the hanger, fold it in the cart, but I try to get to the front of the store where the windows are so I can hopefully see, but I still have missed some stuff. And at first I thought once I got to where I was checking over the stains, then I realized you gotta check the buttons, making sure all the buttons are there, making sure if there's a zipper that it goes up and down, making sure there's no holes, which at first I was just looking at the entire, garment, but make sure that you're checking like in the seams of the armpit, because sometimes there's holes there, sweat stains, that kind of thing. Try to do as best as inspection as you can. That is one mistake, but yes, these are all mistakes that I'm sure all of us resellers have made and continue to make. So don't beat yourself up too much if you do. Another mistake resellers make when sourcing is finding an item, then taking it home, listing it, but not thinking about the box size or how they're going to ship that. Because that's the time that you list something and it sells within the first week, within a couple days, and you're happy that it sold, but oops, you didn't think about what box you're going to use, and now you got to scramble to find a box big enough or the right one. Or maybe, speaking from example, like you pick up a lamp at the estate sale, thrift shop, or some intricate, figurine decoration for Christmas, and you're, ooh, this is nice, this will sell. And then it sells and you think, it's really fragile, and yeah, how am I going to ship this? So just kind of think about those things beforehand, especially if you're going to pick up breakable items, large items. Always make sure you're kind of thinking, how are you going to ship it? Do you have the proper supplies? Buying too much inventory when you have already a lot unlisted. Raising my hand, I'm guilty of that. Because, come on. Thrifting, sourcing, that is the funnest part, at least for me. I love shopping. And yes, I have a death pile, which at the beginning of the year, I thought, I'm going to work on that. And how many totes have I gone through? 2. So yeah, maybe if I put this out here, you can be my accountability coach, and I need to get into those totes. But anyway, purchasing too much inventory while you still have a lot to list. Unless obviously a good deal comes, but there's been recently, I've been like, okay, I'm not going to go thrifting because I have enough to list. But there's times in the past where it didn't matter if I was like drowning in inventory that needed to be listed. If I felt like thrifting, I would still go thrifting. Another mistake you can make while sourcing for reselling is not paying attention to how quickly the item sells or sell through. Just to be aware of that, because when I first started, and also this kind of goes with looking at just what's listed on eBay and not the solds. But even I would pull up the solds and it's like, ooh, this item sold. Like I could make 3 or 4 times my money. Yes, you know. If you're, depending on what your cash flow is, if you are okay with an item sitting and maybe it will take a long time, you know, a year or more to sell, and you're okay with that, or it's a unique item where you know, some vintage item or something, you know it might take a little longer. But if you're looking at like a bread and butter brand, then, and you look at it, maybe things have sold, but it takes a long time. And maybe in the past year, 1 has sold, 2 has sold. So just being aware of that, and are you okay with sitting on that product? Do you have enough space? Do you have enough cash flow to sit on that product if it's going to take a long time to sell? Also, buying something just on the brand itself. Again, I have been guilty of that. Let's say, which this brand has really dropped. I don't know if you are a reseller, which I'm assuming you are, you're thinking about it. Has Lululemon really dropped for you? It used to be no matter what, that would go, you know, I'd do great on it, but the price has really dropped on it. But there were certain brands where at first I was just so excited if I would find that brand that I would just, I have to have it. Yes, I found it. And maybe, you know, I kind of would overlook like, well, it's a size small, and maybe generally speaking, at least for me, larger sizes do better. So it is a little high price for maybe what I'll get on that size and color. Maybe there's a stain that I'm just so excited about finding that brand that it kind of goes back into the other one that I overlook it. So just being aware that not all of one brand is created equal. It is so hard to say when somebody says what sells to across the board say X brand sells. I mean, yes, there are some, but a lot of it is going to depend on the style, the color, the size. So just pay attention to that and not just brand alone. And this kind of snowballs into the next mistake is buying something on emotion. So again, if I was excited about finding a brand and I was just so excited that I overlooked some things, or if it's something nostalgic to you. For example, there was one time I came across, I think, a Cabbage Patch Kid board game. Or there's been some strawberry shortcake items that I've come across. And I thought to myself, oh, I have to buy these. They have to sell. I mean, come on, who doesn't love these? And yes, there are things that sell from the 80s, those that bring in a high dollar amount, but there's a lot that doesn't. So don't buy products on emotion. Try to separate your emotional tie to it, because also if you are emotional, then you might not sell it because you probably have it listed too high because you're attached to it. So try to take the emotion out of it and look at more what is going to sell versus what are products that I like. I mean, you got to like kind of what you're listing, hopefully, but you know what I'm saying. Listing something that is either on the Vero list and or not authentic. Now the Vero list, there are things that are changing, but you can go on there and look for brands that you can't list, words that you can't say. For example, onesie, you can't say that. Velcro, they want you to say hook and eye, because if you list these things, then the brand can flag it, and if you get too many of that, then eBay can shut down your account. So it's not worth doing that. And something inauthentic, again, not worth risking your account for. Another example that over the time, lawn darts, those you can't list because they are seen as being dangerous, the vintage ones, because they're too sharp, or Rosetta Stone is on that list. So things like that that you may not be aware of, you want to just kind of either watch YouTube videos. The best thing would be to look on the Vero list, but also just listen to other resellers. Obviously, there are a lot of mistakes that, come on, we all make and are gonna make, but here are things that I found were like the top things that I wish somebody would have told me to look out for when I was just starting. I hope that this was helpful. Again, these are mistakes when sourcing, but there are other mistakes that resellers in general, I myself has made. So if you want to see what other mistakes, then check out this video next. I'll see you over there in the comments. Thanks. Bye.